man. Is that Double D? Yeah, man. Well, turn it up, man.
Let's just go in and, like, kill all the orcs, right? They're the bad guys. Who gives a shit? We just hack and slash and we loot their dead bodies, right? Hack and slash, kill them all, you know, conquer the infidels.
Boy, that campaign sounds like a barrel of fun, doesn't it?
Somebody who's opening a refrigerator and leaning in, right, is the language of a woman. Somebody who's opening the refrigerator and being cut off halfway through that lean is the voice of like a mermaid or a siren. Right?
This is not the face of the hobby anymore. And I think there's been mistakes made in years past where people assumed that D&D players were all, you know, white dudes in a basement. Which has been a faulty assumption for a lot of years and gets more and more false every day. And so it's, in my viewpoint, honestly, guys like me can't leave soon enough.
I just had to be born with empathy and a weakness for socialism and femboys.
You gotta put a little hot sauce on the taco, you know what I mean?
We want this dwarf to be the dwarfiest dwarf.
Right.
We want the elf to be the elfiest elf.
And just the dashiest dash of Tabasco.
Their voices need to carry across water.
I'm a creative. It's a huge drain, right? Because fans can be awful.
Al zurdo de mierda no le podés dar ni un milímetro.
¿Me podés definir zurdo de mierda? Que no
Todos los que, digamos, los colectivistas, los que ponen, digamos, o sea, esa idea... A ver,
¿Por qué le pones de mierda, digamos?
Porque son una mierda.
You say white lives matter, they don't. White lives don't matter because white lives aren't a thing.
I disagree, Gary.
Lutherville, Marina Del X, Otisburg. Who's this monster? She's got her own place. Otisburg. It's a little bitty place. Otisburg. Okay, I just wiped it off. That's all. It's a little town.
Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
Yeah. 5, 4, 3.
Great sandwich.
Thank you. I enjoyed having you here. You're a very good co-host.
Was that addressed to me, Crafty Matt? Are you inside my head? I think she hit the wall a little bit. Last time we looked, didn't she kind of hit the wall, Rogan?
Oh, yeah, a little bit. And that's all right.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's all right.
We hit the wall, too.
I like to say my day in the sun has come and gone, and I'm good with that.
What a glorious time it was, right?
Absolutely.
Well, how are you doing? How is everybody doing out there in the chat? No Crazy Mouse. He is celebrating. His one brother came into town with their family, so they're celebrating Christmas tonight. So it's just me and Rogan.
Rootin' tootin'.
That's right. We think we can handle this.
I think so. The mouse has some big shoes. I always get nervous when I'm sitting in this seat here. I'm going to do my best.
That's why you're sitting there, man. A little bit of humility, but I know you can do it. So was Santa Claus good to you, Rogan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was good.
Anything special?
My daughter made me something from her 3D printer, which I'm always pleased when my kids make stuff. This is, but I don't know if anyone's familiar with first comic books from back in the day. They had Nexus and Grimjack and Grendel. But Grimjack was one of my favorite comic books, and this dude it's called a Demon Star, this emblem that he wore, and my daughter 3D printed me one.
Damn, that is love.
It is cool. It's really cool. I'll clean it up and I'll paint it. And
Grimjack. I'm wondering if that's where Grim Jim got. There's a YouTuber, a guy on Twitter named Grim Jim. He's an okay guy. He's a little left, but he's like one of those old school free speech, left of center guys. And I remember he asked me one time, he's like, is Rogan's name from their comic book Rogan Gosh? And I'm like, it is, yeah.
It is.
So I got a feeling, I don't know, maybe that's where Grim Jim got his name.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
James Gang. He is a defender one of my most loyal defenders.
Damn.
And I need it occasionally, guys. I really do. I don't complain, but it's always nice to look back and know that if I fall backwards, there's folks that have my back. Thank you very much, James, for re-upping. Good to see you here, my friend.
A defender of the inner circle.
That's right. That's right. We got Mercurius here. You want to go down? Oh, Ryan David's here. How you doing, Ryan? Good to see you, man. Surly Chris Miller. Hey, yo, indeed, Crafty Matt. We already talked to Crafty. Giving everyone my kryptonite in the form of Shanna. Yeah, Luke West is here. I think Luke said on Twitter he'd finally be able to come in. So, hey, welcome. Ooh. Torah, 58. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Bam.
He's a chevalier. Is that how you pronounce that? Chevalier.
Chevalier.
Chevalier. Thank you very much, Torah. Again, one of the true blues. So we're going to, not going to be a terribly long stream, you know. That's that sort of odd week. But I want to kind of go through the Shadowdark book with you guys. Kind of give you the stuff that I like about it. And a couple of minor complaints. I'm not even going to keep it a secret. In general, I do like the game. That doesn't mean it's perfect. So I do have a couple of minor quibbles with it, and we'll see if you guys agree or disagree. So yeah, and then we're going to look at a video by someone. I don't know if we've ever done him before. This isn't like a tear apart. This is kind of like a watch and kind of comment and like react in a good way. Although there is one part where I think RPG Elite is maybe talking about me in his latest video. I hope not, but it's okay. These shoulders are broad, Rogan. I can take it, right?
You can take it.
Yeah.
You're a grown-up.
Let's see. We got Magnificent Devil. Grim Jim is one of the first guys to be semi-successfully canceled by SJWs almost a decade ago, despite being a lefty. Yeah, that's why I'm sure Grim doesn't. Let's just say he probably doesn't have a terrible amount of respect for me. I'm not saying he hates me or anything, but I can kind of tell. But I kind of like him. You know, leftism aside, I'm sure we strongly disagree, especially about the jab and stuff like that. But it's okay. We can agree to disagree like adults. And if I was at a bar with Grim, I would buy him a drink and say, hey, old partner.
We don't got to like exactly everything each other like. I mean, as long as we have some respect, we're good.
Remember when that was the case?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm bringing it back. Let's bring it back.
Yeah, I'm bringing it back.
I think it was called civility. I could be wrong.
Yep. It's going out of style, Rogan.
You got to bring it back.
Going out of style. Yeah. Surly says we wouldn't agree on voting habits, but he seems all right. Yep. Didn't expect us to be talking about Grim. I guess this is all part of your medallion story, Rogan. Now, you were telling me that you had to crack down the whip at work. Rogan is the shop steward.
I'm the union steward in my area of my building. It's a huge building.
He's a welder.
I'm a welder, yeah, and I'm also the babysitter. You know, part-time babysitter, part-time psychologist. You know, part-time. Hey, I have to jump in front of bullets for you kind of guy. But I had a conversation with the guy I work. I work there. I worked with women all my career. You know, I have no problem. I have no issues in that. I'm
usually like management liaison.
Yeah,
type.
usually management. I work with some women that were welders, fantastic welders.
So they have to come out on the shop floor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is like going into the jungle.
Well, you know,
to some extent.
Yeah, years ago, yes, but it's not nearly as bad now. Unfortunately, you know, sometimes you know, a gentleman I was speaking to today, I had to remind him. You know, one of the ladies, she's kind of like, lack of a better term, a boss. She goes through and checks, making sure if I need anything with the work I'm working on, if there's any issues or anything like that. And these are, you know, these women are in their mid 20s, and this guy,
decent looking too, probably.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. They're, you know, she's a pretty girl, you know, and I have a thing for freckles, but you know, I did talking to this guy, and he made a comment, and this girl, I apologize if I keep saying girl, but she just was in the area, talked to me for a little bit, and walked away. Real nice person. We get along fantastically, and this dude's in my area, and like this woman is, gosh, like 10 paces away, and he just says the dumbest sexist thing.
Well, he said she had a nice ass, right?
Yeah, well, yes, and like, dude,
within
like,
earshot.
Like, dude, like,
yeah.
They heard you down the other end of the shop, man. It's amazing to have to remind some of these people, like, this isn't 1980s anymore.
You almost do have to tell them, like, they will fire you over that kind of stuff nowadays. Like, they are. In fact, unless you're like a perfect employee, and even the perfect employee will be on the chopping block. They will get rid of you. HR departments are just full of lunatics these days, looking for a chance to get rid of people.
Oh yeah,
people that would say "great ass, honey," or as she's walking away.
So I'm having talking to this guy like in earnest, like, dude, like his nickname is Turtle. Everyone has nicknames in a shop. You know how if anyone has ever worked in a shop, most places people get nicknames for a variety of reasons. So this dude has the name Turtle and he hates it. Whatever. And I'm like, dude, Turtle, you cannot you like one-on-one, me and you. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. You know, I personally don't talk that way.
Wait till she's dude, 50 yards away.
She can hear you. She's not an intern. She's not afraid of anybody. She's a actual hired employee that's been with the company for a while. She transferred in from another division. She's going to make a name for herself, and if she puts as many heads on the block as she can, it'll happen.
Yeah. As Mercurius says, HR is not on your side.
Nope. Not at all.
They're there for the company, but they're also there. They have like a secret agenda too. It's almost like a star chamber sometimes, I feel. So I go into my job, I do my job, I stay out of trouble, and then just go home. I mean, if there's a woman under the age of 30, I'm polite, I smile, I talk, I don't do any bullshitting.
Right.
Not in the least. All right, well, we got 100 here, so let's go over to the EFAP screen. Bam! Well, thank all of you for tuning in. I thought this might be a lighter night just because, the holiday and all that stuff. So, and I feel like I may be coming down with a cold. Shouldn't say feel. I think I'm coming down with a cold. I hate it when people say, I feel this. You notice that's come into play in the last 5 to 7 years?
Right.
Well, I feel that you don't do blah, 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 blah. I feel that, it's like, don't say that. I don't care how you feel. Say, I think.
Yeah, tagging your emotions onto something is absolutely meaningless.
It's very feminine.
Yeah.
Very feminine. All right. So, Shadowdark. This campaign raised over 1.3 million, and that was when it was live. I don't know, maybe it raised more afterward. Kelsey Dion, Arcane Library, kind of came on as kind of a wunderkind, I would say. And let's not delude ourselves. Some of the success was due oh shit, there's a young woman writing an OSR game. Let's at least check it out. Let's see what the previews look like. And that turns out she knows exactly what she's doing. So I think she put together, as I said, a pretty good book. So as you can tell here, I put these two next to each other. This is Shadowdark here. Very nice. Okay. Gotta tell. It is pretty much exactly the size of Old School Essentials. And I don't think that is accident. If you look at Old School Essentials, the way it's laid out, you're going to see a lot of familiarity. As you see here, the open page in Old School Essentials is useful. It's not just empty space. Open it up, boom, you got some important charts right here. You're good to go. Open up Shadowdark. Opening cover. What do you see?
That's cool.
Yep. There we go. Get the camera up a little bit. Yeah. So you're already seeing, the weapons, the damage, stuff that's useful. So if you're going to, I'm not going to say copy but if you're, going to kind of borrow a little bit of an aesthetic, this isn't the worst. This isn't the worst one to do it from, because this is a very well thought of book. But these games are very different to me. There is some, familiarity, but you're looking at two very, very different games. This is old school D&D, like basic. This is a bit of a hybrid. I almost don't. I think maybe Tora said in the chat, and I kind of agree. It's kind of like it's kind of a hybrid between 5e and OSR. So let's get the most important thing out of the way. Okay? Why I like this book and why I am on board with Arcane Library. All those companies that put those idiotic safety tool blurbs in their book, I have not found anything like that in here. Okay? So, I saw one thing in running the game. Oh my God. I look here, session 0, and I'm like, oh boy, here it comes. Here's what it says on her session 0. Help the players make their characters ahead of the first session. This is an opportunity for the players to establish how their characters know each other, build out backstories, and roleplay precursory scenes. Huh. Sounds like what session 0 was before it had a name. Before it was co-opted by lunatics. So already, I'm looking through this and I'm like, well, come on. I mean, I know she's OSR, but she's very public. She's married to another woman. I got to think that she's probably liberal, although maybe that's unfair. She definitely keeps her politics, on the down low. But, already I'm looking through and I'm like, where are they? They're not in here. So, points to her for not including bullshit. A lot of people complain in our list, like, oh, you put Free League in that second category, which is still a recommend buy, but, they get dinged because they got safety tools on everything. And it's getting worse because then they're doing lines and veils. First of all, super chat. 1 second. Take control here, Rugen. That up a little. Perfect. Warren Johnson. Thank you very much, sir. $5 Canadian. I feel I might be in the Shadowdark about thinking about OSR villains. To your point, I would describe it as 5e basic with OSR features. Yeah, that's fair. Thank you very much, Warren. Yeah, that's fair. This is a very good... I'm not sure how good it would be for long-term campaigns, but this is almost like a perfect, just convention game.
And we got another one here.
Oh, it's our old friend, Mercurius. Good to see you, my friend. $5 Australian. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas, and Merry Christmas to you guys, and Happy New Year. So glad. 122 of you in here. Wow. Fantastic.
You guys are awesome.
Yep. You guys are great. If you get a chance, hit the like button. I'm here. I'm here. Didn't see anything we were on earlier. Oh, no problem, Cal. I kind of did it last night. I was kind of debating, do I want to take a week off? And do I have anything really to talk about? I don't just want to come on here and blather. And then I'm like, well, I was going to do a video on Shadowdark. And then I'm like, why not just do it live with these incredible awakening wonders, as Russell Brand says. All right. Yeah, so So here's, what you get. Kelsey Dione is the lead. Arcane Library is the company. I will critique some of the artwork. Some of the artwork I really like. Some of the artwork I'm only lukewarm towards, let's say. I kind of like this one here. This is this kind of gets you into the adventuring spirit. And that would be worthy of a lot of old school games. So, she describes what is Shadowdark. And in case you don't know, the crux of this game is it's rules light. And the kind of gimmick for it is that you have to make sure you keep a light source or you're going to be in trouble. You end up having disadvantage on your rolls if you're doing stuff in the dark, unless you have like night vision or infravision, as we used to call it. So that's just kind of describing what it is. Very, very similar to a lot of games in this genre, 3-6. I will say, when she says roll them, she says just roll 3-6 down the line, which is pretty brutal. This game can be kind of brutal at times, although there's one aspect that kind of softens it a little bit, which can be remediated. There you go. There's a beautiful picture, nice bat up there. So you're going to see a lot of familiar stuff here. Name, and I guess Ancestry is the only. She probably just wanted to avoid the whole race thing. So, a 10th of a point deduction there. To me, that's not even really that bad these days. Although species, I would be. I mean, you're different species. You're not different ancestors. If you're looking at an elf, it's like you're not. I don't know. That always kind of made me chuckle. There is alignment in this game, and it's simply law, chaos, and neutrality. That's it.
Good, nothing complex.
Yep, exactly. That's an okay piece there. Definitely have seen a little better. So, as you can see here, 0 level characters. She's not afraid to borrow with things that work. And again, I'm not sure that that's bad. Go ahead and throw that up there, Rogan. I'll get to it when I'm done with my thought here. So she's borrowing the gauntlet, aspect from Dungeon Crawl Classics, the 0 level meat grinder, where you play a character, a couple different characters, and whichever one emerges, that becomes your first level character. So, is she borrowing it? Yeah. Is it a bad idea though? No, it's not a bad idea at all. We have a $5 Canadian super chat. Jeffram Dinkar, hoping to write and publish some OSR modules in the new year. What companies are good to work with? New writers. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you, Jeffram Dinkar. I tell you what, I know Greg's in the chat, Greg Gillespie, he's a friend of the show. So obviously he gets kind of preferential treatment, I guess. But his Dragon Slayer game is coming out and it has a very low bar hurdle to write for. You just have to put a little attribution there. And that's it. And I will say this one here is a good one. It's very much the same. It's very just a couple of things you have to put in, and you can use a couple of trademarks for something that's compatible, and you're good to go. So there's 2 right there: Dragon Slayer from Greg, and this one. And I would say if anybody is doing anything. Thinking of doing anything for Wizards of the Coast, think twice, and at the very least, just do it for this game rather than Wizards. It's just there's no reason anybody should be doing anything for Wizards anymore and lifting their carrying their freight.
No, you can't shake the devil's hand and say that you were kidding.
No. No way, no how. No way, no how. All right, so yeah. You're looking here, ancestries, dwarf, elf, goblin, half-orc, halfling, human. I guess goblin's the only one that's maybe atypical of a lot of OSR games. And we'll just look here at the fighter class. I don't want to do the whole book. But you can kind of see what you're getting here.
I like that art.
Yeah, the character art is good. Yeah, character art is pretty good. Again, very worthy of inclusion. You can kind of see here, you're proficient with all weapons, all armor, 1d8 hit points. That's pretty good. You're a hauler. You add your constitution modifier, if positive, to your gear slot, so you can carry more. Like I said, the key to this thing is you probably do have to do a little more record keeping in game for like what you're carrying and how long your torches are lasting, because that's what Shadowdark is all about. Keeping those torches lit so you have a fair advantage.
Yeah.
Although I was thinking about it, because there's rules for how long, and do they go out? But really, if you think about it, what are you supposed to do with the torches when you're fighting? Can any of you answer me that from a practical point of view? Let's say the fighter is carrying a torch. You run across some villains. Okay. Do you throw the torch down? Do you hold it and use it kind of as a parrying weapon? I mean, will that make it go out? I was kind of thinking about this. It's not as easy a question as you might think. Yeah, Crafty Matt says a torch bearer. Yeah, and these guys had one of those too. But that torch bearer has to get pretty close to the action. So there's some risk there. And you know what? If I was a creature that, was kind of intelligent and could see in the dark, I would go after that torch bearer. Oh, yeah. Wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
I mean,
it's only natural.
Here's the grit. Choose one type of weapon, such as longswords. You get a +1 to attack. Okay. That's weapon mastery. Grit is choose strength or dexterity. You have advantage on checks of that type to overcome an opposing force, such as kicking open a stuck door. So, as you can already tell, the advantage-disadvantage system from 5e is here. In name, too. That's what it's called. And you see fighter talents here. And these are familiar. These are things that you would get at intervals in many games. In this game, you are rolling for these. Every level you get. Interesting, no? It's random. If you roll a 12, you can choose one. Or you can just opt for a +2 to the stats.
Wow.
So you can tell that's why I say this would be a good convention game, because there's not much here. And you can pretty easily wrap your head around this stuff. These talents are, they're kind of bog standard. Gain weapon mastery with 1 additional weapon, +1 to melee or range, +2 to strength, dex, or con. Choose an armor, blah, blah, blah. There's the wizard, of course. Again, good art for the character classes. I will say that. Alignments are chaotic, lawful, and neutral. And then there's some deities here. You can see Saint Taragnus. These are if you don't have your own in your own world, but if you just want to borrow some for a temporary game. Memnon. Is that from Agamemnon? Wasn't he a Greek god or a king? I think he was a Greek king, right? Agamemnon. If I'm remembering my history. Must be where that comes from. Ramlat, the Lost. Yeah. We got titles here. Not very, not overly fond of this art here. It's a little too cutesy for me. A little too soft. It's okay from right here. Down here.
Right.
It's just kind of a blobby figure with, there's no motion to that figure. They're just kind of, what are they doing? Is he answering a question, or is he trying to ask a question? He's got his hand raised.
It's an interesting concept of doing that with that image,
Yeah.
Half on one, part of it on one page,
Mhm.
then opening it up to a larger image
Yeah.
on the other page. But
I don't see too many with this, like that little part of it splashing over. Just,
Right.
just like the idea of him. Excuse me, I have a question up there. Are you planning on robbing us tonight or tomorrow night?
can you please bring down my kite?
Yeah. I have a ball stuck in the gutter up there, sir. Could you bring down my duck? My duck is afraid of heights. Got up there. These are the titles. Again, I like that there's different ones for different, different alignments. Knave, first and second level. I guess we go every 2 levels. You have a fighter title rather than every one. So, yep. As you can tell, she's kind of sticking to the familiar. But again, we're dealing with some 5e mechanics. There's the all-important torch there for the gear. You can see the weapons. A real stripped down, real basic list. And I think that's what all this game is just very simple, very stripped down. That's why I say it would be a great great convention game. Warren Johnson, think The Thing. Large skin of alcohol plus torch. Yeah, there you go. I've been watching that movie a lot lately. Thank you, Warren. Thank you very much. $2 Canadian. Now, what you're going to see here, this is a premonition of things to come. Character names. This is I think the first official chart you see in this game. It is far from the last. So that could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you feel. Experience points. There's a good section here just to kind of roll up a random character. Always appreciate that. Magic. I do like the magic in this game. I don't like games where magic automatically goes off. It just, I understand it. I understand why it's done. But I also, hold on one second. Just hit clear there, Rogan. Yeah, that'll always get rid of that so you can see what's down there. I understand why it's done, but I always like a little bit. I always like the chance of failure for a wizard or a priest, and in this game you have it. To cast a wizard spell, you roll a die 20 plus your intelligence modifier. That's for a wizard. A priest, die 20 plus your wisdom. And the DC is 10 plus the spell's level, or tier, as she calls it. If you roll a 20, it's a success. You get to double up that damage. It's always nice. Sometimes that's something you don't get in games where you automatically succeed. You may roll good on your damage, but a lot of times you can't crit. But you can also critical failure too. So, and this is where it's I think if a wizard crits failure, you can't cast that spell again until you successfully complete a rest. That's fine. The priest, if the spell was a priest spell, your deity is greatly displeased and revokes its power. You can't cast that spell again until you complete ritualistic penance to your deity and successfully complete a rest. So priests are punished more for failures, or for critical failures, than wizards. Wizards just need to take well, I guess I shouldn't say that, because wizards do have to roll on the wizard mishap table. So I think that maybe that's how she balances it out. But priests, they have to actually do some ritualistic penance, which could take time. So, the DM will have the DM and the player, I guess, will have to figure out what penance is. A holy quest, ritualistic atonement. So, yeah. So I guess wizards don't have it too good because they have to roll on the mishap table. For the mid-level spells, devastation is when you roll 1 with a die 12, roll twice and combine both effects. Ouch. You must pass a DC 12 wisdom check or descend into mad raving for 1 die 10 rounds.
Wow.
But I mean, it could be memorable, no?
Oh yeah.
Like I said, especially if this is kind of like a short-term thing.
Right.
I think if this always, look, if you play a lot and you're engaging in a little bit of combat, which I don't think you're supposed to do in this game. It's kind of like Greg's in that you get treasure, or you get experience points by gold, not by necessarily defeating monsters. Chris Miller, please see my previous super chat. Chris, sorry about that, Chris. Whoops. Let's see. Do we have one from Chris?
Where did he go?
Which way did he go?
Where did he go?
Yeah, sometimes, Chris, it's not just, I don't know if it's looking right now on my phone for your chat. Maybe can you try to track that down?
Yeah.
Or I tell you what, Chris, if you can just copy and paste it, and then I'll put it up here. Because I'm not seeing it. It's weird. Anyway, thank you for the $2 super chat. Please see my. So yeah, and then just look earlier or later, Rogan, and if maybe he can just copy what he said, and we'll put that up and answer it. So I don't know. The Wizards, I guess they have it bad too. You're rolling on this. Oh, there we go. Rogan, you are the master. He is the finder of lost super chats. This is 2 weeks in a row. This boy can he can find them.
I can find them.
$5 from our friend Chris Miller, Mad Scribe Games. If you want to support him, his products, they are always in the description of all my videos because I like Chris, and he is a channel sponsor. So if you follow that link, I'll get a little cut to the action, but more importantly, Chris gets a sale, and that's what we want most of. Okay, so if this is an OSR game and there's no politics in it, then why do you think it was so accepted by the woke left? Because it was a woman. Plain as day. Because it was a woman. That's all that they look at. And like I said, I think it helps get some eyeballs on it, but if the product's crap, folks on our side wouldn't have even given it a second look. And I don't necessarily think it's a OSR game, Chris. As I said, and somebody else said, it's kind of a blend of OSR and 5e. So it's not wholly one or the other. I'm going to complain to the mouse. Yeah. He's probably tuning in right now at his mom's house. Thank you very much. $2 super chat. Yeah. All right, we'll try to keep up on that and not lose sight of him. So yeah, no, this isn't a true OSR game. It has OSR elements in it. And you'll just have to decide. I like this idea of wizard mishaps. I do too. When a fighter gets in there, we know what the fighter's his position is, and he's going to take trust me, I know he's going to be probably the first to get the damage. Yes. Other cast get to stand back and cast spells or whatever it is. So we've had an awful lot of spellcasters survive for a long period of time, and fighters take down. Yeah. I like that idea, of the mishap in regards to spells. I don't know if it was Sovereign Stone
I don't know how many years, 20 years ago, I think that Gavin Morgan incorporated their magic system, and there was a spell burn.
Yeah.
There was a chance that you could burn out.
Yes. Yeah, Sovereign Stone by, I believe, Margaret Weiss. We included that spell system for a time. It actually was pretty good.
Yes, yes, it was.
Yeah, it had like that kind of spell burn element from like DCC.
And it happened a handful of times where, the spell, boom, whammy, no spell. And there are magic users on his butt going, ouch.
Yep. That's the way it should be. So here's the pre-spells. Here's the wizard spells. As you can tell, there's just all the way up to level 5, and that's it. You're seeing all the spells. So this is a very stripped down basic list, and that ain't all bad.
I think we have another mouse dropping here.
Oh boy! Oh, Black Lodge Games, old friends. Shadowdark isn't my cup of tea, but it's a high quality product, and hopefully gets some 5e people interested in different styles of games. Correct.
Amen.
Yeah, this is a well-earned success for Kelsey, in my opinion. The art is phenomenal. Yeah. Some of this art I really, really like. Some of it is just okay, but there's some really good pieces in here. Thank you, Black Lodge Games. Yeah, a lot of people. I asked Black Lodge. I said, would you guys be interested in maybe coming on the show, and then I would come on yours, and they said, yeah, let's do it maybe sometime in January when things settle down from the holidays a little. So maybe we can have just a good, honest conversation with our friends over at Black Lodge Games. They're doing great work over there.
Good dudes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of you guys are already subscribed. But if you're not, please subscribe to Black Lodge Games. They are really doing some good content, some great videos. And what I like about them is they do take a stand. And that'll be the second part of this video. People taking stands and maybe afraid to take a stand. So they are not afraid to take a stand in their game philosophy. And even if you agree, disagree, that's fine. But they are interesting folks, and that's what we're trying to do here. So thank you very much. Yeah, let's see. There's one spell I kind of where is it? Dominion. Yeah, there's a good spell. Level 5 priest calling in devils or angels to help you. And then you have to cast, you can't cast a spell again until you complete a penance of some kind. So
wow.
There's good stuff here.
So that's like the nuclear option.
Yeah. Yeah, there are some creatures, in here that you may need them against. The fireball, what you have to get used to here is there's no, thief, this treadmill where it's like, this thief saves, at a certain level, it's half damage, and then it becomes no damage. No. You hit a small flame that erupts into a fiery blast. All creatures in a cube size around where the flame lands takes 4d6 damage. There's no make a save.
You can't spell shape that?
Yeah, you can't fucking shape the spell. Oh my God. I think I mentioned that in one of my videos. One of my biggest surprises is when we were playing 5e and the wizard's like, I'm just going to shape that fireball. I'm like, shape it? I was not familiar with that spell at that time.
I remember my heart jumping when he says he's going to cast that in this particular area. I'm like there's 3 of us here and half of us are down most of our hit points. You're going to kill us. No, I'm going to spell shape it. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, they just pass their save and then they take no damage. What? So you can just lob fireballs into combat with, Jesus. I mean, talk about making the wizard kind of indestructible.
I'm going to spell shape my sword.
Yeah, with a wizard and thief in 5e is just, the thief is like a frontline fighter in 5e. I mean, Crazy Mouse did more damage, I think, on one attack as a thief than I think any fighter ever did. He did like 88 points of damage or something.
He's had some really, really good rolls, and how certain things stacked up. He was rolling a lot of dice.
The power word kill here. Yep. So some familiar. Another great Another great picture here.
That's sweet.
I think this is the cover artist. Let's give him a shout out because I think he is definitely the best of the lot here. Lucas Corte, cover. Yeah, and he did, let's see, 74. Did he do page 74? Yes, he did. Yeah, so this is Lucas Corte. Anything with this kind of really detailed, like God, look at all that. Look at all that work in there. Got a couple of carrion crawlers here. These guys going at it. Jeez. So gameplay. This is where the rubber meets the road. Talking as a supporter, I find that this would be really cool for a one-shot, as I found out with Zero Level Gauntlet with friends, and to use as support in campaign. But I couldn't run a campaign with this. Yeah, that was going to be part of my closing thoughts, Matt. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. I think this would be good for maybe short-term things. If you got a friend in town, hey, let's play. But hey, I got this game. We can just do a quickie, easy to learn, kind of deadly if you make a few changes.
Looking at this and then going back to our experience first with 5e back in Gen Con all those years ago, we had that 4-hour game thing, and we spent 2 hours character building with a DM that was not, I don't know where his brain was, but here we are, we're rolling up characters, and
he was a hut.
Oh my,
he was a hut.
Yeah, he was. And, gosh,
that man, that was like what, 7 years ago, maybe.
Oh yeah, yeah. And that wasted.
Yeah, that dude is housebound now.
Yeah, that easily wasted 2 hours of the 4-hour block.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, what are we doing here? And then we're going around killing a couple of rats or something.
So this right here seems like, yeah, you can put together a character pretty quick.
Yep. So we're talking about advantage, disadvantage. I won't bore you guys with that. Natural 1s, 20s. Die 6, 50-50. I think she's just saying sometimes just do a 50-50 that way. Then there's luck tokens. Now this is where I think the game's it balances things back towards the players with luck tokens, which you can give out for role-playing heroism. But each player can only have one luck token at a time. But it is a reroll. And there are rules, if you want a pulp style game, maybe you get 2 or 3. So you can kind of change things around that way. And again, very much like D&D, the last couple of iterations, we're looking at difficulty classes. So you're rolling a die 20, adding a modifier. We're going for DC 9, 12, 15, 18. Those are just the easy, normal, hard, extreme. Obviously, you can make them whatever you want, but those are just the given ones. Rules for contested checks. Okay. So here's one thing I'm not sold in this game on, and that is I understand the thing with the torches, and I think it is good to kind of focus on that and maybe even, to build your game around it. But it's this real-time thing. Time passes in the game world at the same pace it's passing in the real world. 1 minute or hour of game time is equal to 1 minute or hour in real time. That's to track your torches, because one torch lasts 1 hour. I'm not sure I like that. I just feel that everybody's going to be going straight over to here to time passes, where every moment in the game doesn't have to be accounted for in real time. For example, if the characters want to spend 10 minutes examining a room, the GM and players can agree that time passes. Well, that's going to be the norm, I think, rather than the... Oh yeah, go ahead, put that up there. Yeah, that's going to be the norm, I think, rather than the exception. Matt McGurk, thank you so much. Join the channel. Wow, new subscriber, a defender. Right. Thank you for defending me, Matt. It is much appreciated. I try to put all that money back into the channel in one way or the other. So thank you very much. Now I think the time passes in real time the same way it does in game time. I think that can work in certain situations. I think it's oops, 1 second here.
Oh.
Yeah. I think if you just say, "Hey guys, we're in this part of the dungeon right now. We're going to go real time for real time." Okay? So what you say now, your characters say, let's just try to do that. I have done that on occasion, right, Rogan?
Oh yeah, I like that. I really like it.
Yeah.
It really forces us to cut the bullshit.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think if you do it all the time, I think its effect is a little would be dulled,
right?
To some extent. Thank you, Mercurius. He gifted a membership.
He's done this before.
Yeah, boy, he is the man from down under. He has a big heart. Thank you, Mercurius.
Every day is Christmas for this dude.
That's right. That's right. Giving out gifts like it's still Christmas. Thank you, Mercurius. It's much appreciated. And welcome to the inner circle.
Yes.
We're gonna send out pins or something. I'll send a pin down to Australia. That'll only cost me like $30.
It'll be worth it.
I think if I held a giveaway on this channel and I had one subscriber who lived in the shadows of like Mount Kilimanjaro, that's the one who would win. Oh yeah, you can send it this way, and then you got to put it on a Jeep, so that's extra. But I love it. I love sending stuff around the world because, as we talk about, it is so cool that we get guys from around the world. Yeah, so don't you guys think twice about it? We love you. Yeah, so that's my problem with time. Turn order. We just have a standard initiative. Now I think. Here's the thing. Because you're supposed to do this in real time, I think there's supposed to be a constant initiative going on. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Again, I think that would get old after a while. So I think people would kind of abandon that in fairly quick order. So that was initiative outside of combat. And here we talk about the light sources. There's crawling rounds. Vision. Total darkness. When in total darkness, a creature who is not darkness adapted has disadvantage on tasks it undertakes that require sight. That is a good rule. Also, the environment becomes deadly, which means there could be more wandering monsters coming along. Yeah, the GM checks for a random encounter every crawling round. Damn. Joel, thank you very much for joining Defender. It is much appreciated. Much appreciated. I bet he took advantage of Mercurius's gift.
Rock and roll.
Yes, thank you very much. Hope you enjoy the stay. So I think this is something you can do in your own game. Because, try to fight, just try simulating a fight in total darkness. If you're just a normal person, you would be just kind of swinging in front of you blindly. You would be. Are you thinking?
Yes,
swinging into a space. Yeah, we had a player who would vehemently say like, "Well, you're swinging into a space." It would be. We loved him, Chris. Yeah, so this is something you could adapt. And I know there are rules in a lot of games, and it's just a negative advantage or disadvantage, just disadvantage for total darkness. That's a pretty big deal. That's just not like a -2 or something.
Right.
So yeah, maybe think about incorporating. Let's think about this game, even if you don't love it. As someone said earlier, you can kind of steal stuff from it too. Resting. So this is the power nap. Okay. So let me get this down here a little. Yep. On a successful rest, a character who successfully rests regains all lost hit points and recovers any stat damage. So that's something you have to figure out whether you want or not. It's the power nap from 5e. Then again, this game is pretty deadly. So is it something that you think is appropriate because it's so deadly? Hyperborean. He is a new member, a Chevalier.
Chevalier.
One of the Imperial Guard. Thank you so much, Hyperborean.
Welcome to the Inner Circle.
Love the Robert E. Howard picture. My favorite author. Stealth and surprise, rules for that. Now here's combat. Combat is very simple. You can move and do an action. Basically it's what you would come to expect. You can do parallel tasks to, speaking, essentially what you would call free actions. Death. Well, there are morale rules too, which I always like to see. Sometimes they're just kind of a pain to implement, but it's good to have them. Death. So when you go to 0, you're dying. And then there's a death timer. 1 die 4 plus their con modifier. That's how many they die in that many rounds, unless they're healed or stabilized. They can also roll, and if they roll a 20, a natural 20, they get it. So that's essentially, you do get a death save, but you only make it if you get a 20.
Ouch.
Yeah, so you're counting on some aid, usually, to stabilize you.
I've traditionally not been very good at my death saves.
You have not. You have not. That's okay. We still love you.
Oh, thank you.
Downtime. There's carousing rules. I know Greg had this in his game too. This must be a new phenomenon. I always like to see it. And there are some rules here too. Wizards and Thieves. This is an actual game, an in-game game, like gambling game you can play.
All right. We got a mouse dropping here. Whoops. Where'd it go?
There we go. Oh, Chris Miller. I'm a fan of deadly weapon damage and realistic healing. You are not healing from a sword thrust after a 5-minute rest. Yeah. Yep. Now that is, stay tuned because there's of course an example of play here. So maybe I'll just go to it here. Okay. Thank you very much, by the way, Chris. $5 super chat. So, I think she was open and said, here, you don't like the way it's written? You can have these different modes. Blitz mode, light timers last 30 minutes instead of an hour. Chaos mode, reroll initiative at the start of every combat round. You should do that all the time, actually. It's a lost art 3E kind of got us used to not doing that, but it's good to have that chaos.
It really switches it up.
It does. It does for sure. Deadly mode, death timers are always 1, and you need a DC 18 intelligence instead of 15 to stabilize the dying.
Yeah.
That is dead. I don't know if I would do that here. I'd have to think about it. Fatality mode, characters die at 0. I probably would not implement that here. This game, you don't have the tools. I think it would become a little unfair to the players if you did this, the fatality mode. However, might be of a mind to do grinder mode. With each successful rest, you regain 1 stat damage per stat and hit points equal to 1 roll of your hit point die. That's more like it. So grinder mode, I would probably implement. I would do chaos and grinder. Hunter mode, defeated monsters grant experience point equal to half their level. Kind of depends on your group. If your group likes the combat and they don't mind dying, then I would be of a mind to give them hunter mode. Momentum mode, damage dice explode, pulp mode. No, I think those probably put the balance a little too far into the player's corner. Players start every session with 1/4 luck tokens. No way. Yeah, that could be, on average, each player has 2 to 3 rerolls in any given session. They'll never die. No death speeches allowed. What's wrong with death speeches? Thank you, Surly. So here's something else. Traps. This is interesting. Traps add peril and surprise. Okay. Finding. Characters who search a specific area or object for a trap automatically find it. Interesting. Disabling. Thieves and characters trained in tinkering can describe how they disable or circumvent the trap. If the character has enough time and uses a reasonable method, the character succeeds. Okay. If there is time pressure, that's when you have to roll. So I was trying to... this is an interesting one. First of all, I think there's a weakness here because I don't know what tinkering is. I looked in the book. This is a no skill. There's no skills in this game. It's all attributes. So, you're rolling dexterity, strength, whatever. So characters who are trained in tinkering, I don't know what that means. Okay, and that's a little confusing. So, and this is, look, traps are a big deal. So,
and they should be.
Yeah. And thieves, I don't want to say they're not nerfed, because I guess they do have to be the ones, but all they have to do is say, well, I'm just going to, I guess it would be incumbent on the DM on how good they describe the trap. So if you're a DM, you do probably have to be on your best game. If you're doing a trap here, you better understand exactly how it works. So the thief can tell you, oh, well, I'm just going to cut this wire here, or I'm going to, gunk up the works here to neutralize it. So that's something to be aware of. But yeah, you don't always roll to disable a trap. Only if you're under time pressure. Interesting. The Gauntlet, talked about that. 0 level characters. That would be a fun way to do it. To start a little mini campaign. Sources of XP, golden gems, oaths, secrets, and blessings. Those are called boons. Magic items, meaningful trophies, tokens. Clever thinking. You don't see animals here or creatures. Very much a deflationary model. I think to get to second level, it's like 10 experience points or something like that. But I don't know if you can see down here, but if you get a legendary treasure, with a huge magic item, that's 10 experience points. That's a whole level, at lower levels. So, all right. So here we start. Something happens. Rumors. Adventures. Remember when I told you about those charts? NPCs, NPC qualities, rival crawlers, NPC names, maps, taverns, Arctic shop. As you can see, it keeps going here, guys. Forest, there is a lot. Jungle encounters, ocean, tomb. All right, so, from here, this much of the book is random tables. Now, a lot of people like that, and I'm kind of neutral on it. I think these are probably well written. So I think overall these are a positive. And, like I said, in your game, if you're not running this, but just read some of these tables. Ooh, that sounds like actually a pretty good hook, for the players to see if they want to tug on it or not, or, what kind of an encounter, might they run across in the slums. But, some people might be like, well, damn, there's hardly any rules in this game, and there's just a bunch of tables. Monsters. Some good art there. That's the Ankheg, I believe. Yep. Basilisk. We have archdevils, so there are devils in here. Drow. I'm telling you guys, okay? Any one thing I missed, okay, and this is in defense of Kelsey, and this is why I think even if this game isn't your cup of tea, this is why, I think it's worth defending. Do you see this here? Can you see that, Rogan?
I can see it.
What does that say?
Crusading Templars, prophetic.
Okay, do you think, let me ask you this. Do you think any game from Paizo, from Wizards of the Coast, from Kobold Press, from Green Ronin, any of these horrible villain companies from our list, do you think any of them would mention Crusading Templars?
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. She's not afraid to mention Crusading Templars. She's not afraid, to talk about the elves with a tan and the drow.
Oh, the elves in blackface.
the elves in blackface, yeah. So, this is refreshing to see. I have a game in my hand where it came out this year. It was finished this year, came out this year. There's no damn safety tools in the thing. It mentions Crusading Templars. There's drow. I'm sorry. I'm going to extol the virtues of someone who's like, yeah, this is just old school games, and there's nothing wrong with mentioning these. Nobody's hurt. So that's why Arcane Library is on our list of heroes for stuff like this. I like that piece of art there.
I like
that's pretty cool.
We got another mouse dropping here.
Chris Miller, by the way, can you play Crusading Templars you can play Crusading Templars in Sword and Caravan? Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, if you go to Mad Scribe Games, if you want a more historical bent, and actually play like a Crusades campaign, you can pick up Sword and Caravan from Mad Scribe, written by Pundit, which is, regardless of how you feel about Pundit personally, he puts a lot of work and a lot of research into his stuff. So, see, Giants. Excuse me. Your boy's struggling here. I think he's getting the onset of a cold. Gorgon. Yeah, so you get a pretty hefty, just like in Greg's game, you're getting a pretty hefty monster manual. Would love to see, like in Greg's. Greg had pretty much a picture in every one. I know that's Greg was just insane in wanting to just be completely old school, gloriously so. Probably don't see that too much in these types of games. So yeah, they pick and choose their spots, but these are good pieces, the ones that they do have. Oh, look at that, man. So Remoras, right? Yeah. Woo, that is probably one of the best. That's one of the best Remoras I've seen. Page 247. Is that Luke Corte? Yep. Lucas Corte is a really good artist. Really good artist. Scorpion, yep. Some good stuff here, guys. Vampire. I think there's a Tarrasque in this. There's a Tarrasque.
Ooh.
Holy smokes.
We fought one of those once.
Yeah. End of the world.
Oof. Swallowed my character whole.
Yeah, yep. What a way to die, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, that's straight out of Conan, pretty much, right?
Yeah, that is awesome.
I'm not even going to look. That's got to be Lucas. So I never. I'm a little clueless, so don't blame me if they're like Double D. How could you not know who he is? But I'd never really heard of him. So it seems like this is his coming out party. And man, it's just a really good picture, guys.
It is.
I mean, you can't deny that doesn't put you in the mood, to go strap it on do some crawling. And the rest, I think, is magic items, stuff like that. There's one. It's not my favorite. It's good, but it's not my favorite. I think there's an artist here who does kind of more soft stuff, which some people may like. It's not quite that Cal art style, but it's getting there. But yeah, that stuff by Lucas is just bang on, man. Boons, these are the last ones. These are ways you can get experience too. Oaths, secrets, blessings, stuff like that. All right. Well, I think that takes us to the end. I'm going to...
Now, you're seeing it on the screen here. I haven't seen it, I haven't actually looked at it. The illustration on that cover, is that in silver or is that white?
That's silver.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's silver.
That is sweet.
Yeah. Put on my shades of seeing +2. All right, so I think we're done here, so I can turn this off. All right, so my final thoughts. My likes on this game. I kind of wrote them down in no particular order. Obviously, no safety tools. No bullshit. It's just game-related stuff. And God bless her for doing that. And I know it's like, well, why are we making a big deal out of people, who are doing what they should do? Because nobody else is doing it. Yeah. So this may not be quote unquote OSR, but it's got OSR elements, and overall I like the game. It's simple. I like the look of especially that Lucas Cortez art. The light tracking is a good hook. Is kind of a more or less a gimmick for the game. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with having a gimmick for your game. No experience point for monsters, just like in Greg's game, you're not supposed to fight. It's, one second here. I will answer that one in a sec. You're not supposed to fight. You're supposed to raid, steal, and get away. You're not supposed to fight if you can't help it. That is Death Dealer by Frazetta. Dark Knight of Hibernia. Do you like? Mrs. D got me like 6 more blacklight posters, so I will. So I'm going to go to town when I get them all kitted out and ready to go behind me. So yeah,
reminds me of 77, 78.
It's going to be like your Stoner Brothers basement bedroom in. I know some of you know what we're talking about.
No giant footprint rug on the floor.
Yep. 70s, early 80s. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, that is a Frazetta. I have like 3 Frazetta posters. The others are just kind of done with ink. This is that's like a true blacklight. That's really cool. That Death Dealer. That's why I hang that there. Excuse me, guys. As I said, I'm struggling. It's a great convention game. Shadowdark is. Those charts are useful. It does take up a lot of the, the rule book, but I think overall they're a net positive.
They're useful tools to get a game going pretty quickly, and like it says in earlier on, it's rules light.
Yeah,
it doesn't need a whole lot of crap, or other crap onto it.
Yep, for sure. The magic failure, I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like wizards and priests to have to actually have a little sweat on their brow.
It surprises me every now and then. We'll get back into Castles and Crusades soon enough, but it surprised me as we were going on. Certain spells, I'm going to cast a spell right now, and they're like, okay, what do you need to roll to hit? Not automatically hits. Like, what?
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, and I'm a fighter. I'm like, I'm cheering on my team, but at the same time, I'm like, that's kind of lopsided.
Yeah, you do. If you're playing Castles and Crusades as a DM, you do have to kind of put your foot down in certain things. Or, it's not like it's going to turn into 5e, but it starts going that way, especially with some of the spell. If you get like the spell book, the spell book, there's some extra spells in there. Wasn't one like it was Mrs. D's. It initially does like her hit points and damage. I'm like, wait a minute, you're casting a spell that does 50 some hit points,
Right?
I'm like, no.
And that, you know, again, that should be a nuclear option.
Yeah.
Of kind of spell, and there should be reverberations. There should be a penalty. You know, you should feel it while you're casting it.
And I remember asking people online, like, I'm like, is this, because I said, do I have this right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, this is way overpowered. And they're like, no, it isn't. You know, maybe the monsters attack the priest before they can do it. Well, they would have to attack the priest. The priest would be a fool not to stand in the back and just let this ranged spell go for 50 points of automatic damage. I mean, good Lord. It's one of the most overpowered things, you know, ever. And they're just like, oh, no. Sometimes I wonder, people like that, I don't think they actually play the game, and they don't understand like how easy it would be for a priest or a priestess to just sit in the back protected. And then as a DM, you have to keep going after, oh, look, another monster is going after the priest again. Like it would know that the priest has this spell. So it's super gay all the way around. So we just ruled it to die 6 per level. Sorry. Yeah, so I like the magic failure being an option. My dislikes on the game, and they keep in mind, these are relative. Overall, I do like the game. Is it too simple? It might be a little too simple for long-term play, but your mileage may vary. I don't like the real-time 1 hour gimmick all the time. I like it in certain situations. In certain situations, use it right, like a spice, and it'll be a darn good addition.
Well, sometimes you got to clamp down and create the pressure.
Yeah, guys, you dim the lights a little and you say, all right, guys, we're in real time now. What your characters say, or what you say, your characters say. So let's do this for an hour. Let's see how it goes. Then all of a sudden, everybody does this. They pull in their chair a little. They stand a little, sit up a little straighter. But you do that all the time. Like a parent who just yells all the time, it starts to have no effect. The options, I like the options that give flexibility to the GM, like the grinder mode and all that stuff, chaos mode. But it does give the game slightly less character. You could argue that, look, this is meant to be a dark and gritty game. Grinder mode should have been on from the start. And then the power nap should have been one of the modes. Power nap mode or whatever. That's how I would have written the game. It's a minor quibble, but it does sort of take away a little bit from the character of the game, in a very minor way. But in the same respect, it is good to have those options. So I'm so glad that she thought of those. Traps. I haven't made up my mind on the traps yet. Part of me says it's different, but part of me says maybe it's better. Just kind of, if you're not under any kind of, time constraint, like Crazy Mouse's Thief, he's going to get that. He's going to get that trap. I don't know. That's of all the things that come out of this game, that's going to get me thinking the most. But like I said, as a DM, you do have to do your homework on these traps. You can't just say, well, it's a pit trap, or it's a block, a falling stone block. You kind of have to think in your mind, like, okay, how does this work? Get that Grimtooth's traps, or, something like that. Or a Traps and Treachery back in the day.
I tell you what, I've always liked that. Excuse me, pardon me. Casting a spell, and you're big on that. Like, all right, tell me about it.
Well, yeah.
Explain it, describe it. When you're disarming this trap. So you tell me what you're doing, how are you doing it. Give us some flavor.
Yeah.
Pardon me. I've always liked that.
Yeah. I mean, I always try to get a little character from when anybody's casting a spell. Tell the table what's going on here when you're casting this spell. Let your player think about it. Gets them more into their character.
Gavin Morgan is really good at that.
Yeah, Gavin does a good job.
He does a fantastic
Yeah, when
job.
Gavin's on, he's really good. He's one of the better players. When he's off, when he's distracted, we gotta bring him back on track.
It happens.
Yeah. As I said, I'm not sure how well this is going to stand up to long-term play. I suppose it depends on the players and how many options they like, because you're not getting many options as a player. You're rolling on that chart to get a new, it's not feat, but it's something, the ability, whether it's, adding 1 to your backstab dice or, your attack bonus. In a way that's good because it gets players more interested in just who their characters are rather than, just a bunch of like a video game. Like, I'm going to go up another level. Ding, ding, ding. No, if I hit this, ding, ding, ding. Now I get this. I don't know. So that could end up being good. Excuse me. As I said, the charts, I don't know. Your mileage may vary. There's a lot of charts in this game, but I think they're not just thrown in there. They're done with some thought behind them. So, as I said, I tend to think that they are a net positive. All right, what is the chat saying? Oh, let's see. Yep, hopefully this is a good book. It's a gateway to the OSR and opens up 5th edition players to, and they're good writers and publishers. Yes, exactly. Think of this book as like Suboxone for 5e. to wean them off of 5e. This game is like Suboxone.
And abuse.
Yeah, and abuse. Yeah. So it's one of those kind of drugs, not drugs. To kind of help you get off an addiction. This could do it because it's going to be familiar enough with the advantage disadvantage, mechanic for 5e players. And if you get the right ones, look, there's some that are just going to be lost. And they're just we all know who they are. But there's just normies out there who are like, I like 5e. Look, we were one of those 5e tables too for years.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just takes someone to kick you in the butt and say, here, try this. So,
well, it wasn't hard with them imploding, number one. And that kind of shined, that started opening eyes, certainly, more, our awareness on other things going on. And, it kind of broke us, took the sparkle out of our eyes, the sleep dust or whatever it is,
Oh, for sure. All right, let's finish up here with something here real quick. Boy, there's a good... That's a professional looking. Get to see my bathroom.
Well, at least your Q-tips are not out on the counter. Sorry, Condor.
Yeah, Condor. Yeah. I got to get my milk carton up, my milk carton button. So whenever somebody says anything about Condor, I can just put it up there because it's been like I think about 2.5 months since he's done anything.
I hope he's doing well.
I don't. All right. So this kind of caught my eye. We'll start it. I'm going to skip ahead actually.
I have a confession to make. And that confession is a realization. It's a realization about myself. And I've come to the conclusion, the reality, the truth about this, about myself, that I am a...
Whoa.
Good stinger. That away.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. All right. So let's skip ahead a little here. Okay. So this is RPG Elite. Before you guys say like, oh my God, Double D's taking a shot. I'm not taking a shot. I like RPG Elite. I think he has a good channel. But he had an interesting video. And let's watch a little bit of it, and we'll see what he has to say. Because he is one that tries to keep his his nose, out of I keep that up there for a sec. Let me adjust the. He tries to keep his nose out of trouble, essentially. Whereas your boy here, sometimes goes looking for it. RPG Elite, Matt McGurk, love his videos. Yeah, he does a real good job with his channel. I like, let's be clear here, before anybody goes back to RPG Elite and says, hey, Double D, he took the piss out of you. No. Ooh, super chat. Now it's too low. Too low for one. There we go. Warren Johnson. Smash. The Watsarchy, yes. Well, that's the goal. It's going to be tough. They own everything. So they have like 75% of the industry. So, but I think we're making it less and less cool to play that garbage game that they have, and we'll see what RPG Elite thinks of that game, which was really a revelation to me. So let's just continue.
To give you an idea on what this video was going to be, because it's going to be one of those controversial topics, and you're going to get some people crying about this. And this is the title of the video. No, orcs do not represent Negroes in tabletop RPGs.
Boom.
Now,
boom, mic drop. There's so many points in this video. I'm like, yes, mic drop. And then there's others I'm like, oh, RPG Elite, what are you saying? Brother, what are you saying? Let's continue.
Now, the reason I was going to do that video is because people asked me, what do you think about this? And they asked me more than once in the comments of my video. And I said, that's coming. That was about almost a year ago. And there's a reason why the commentary videos that I do come with a large amount of space in between them. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Now, if this is your first time coming to the channel, welcome aboard, folks. My name is Servant of Shiloh, and this is RPG Elite. It's the place where I focus, and it is my job, it is my love to put the RP, the role-playing, back into tabletop RPG role-playing game. How?
All right, so I have no problem with that, okay? But, and look, there's plenty of good channels that are just games only. Beck Me Berserker, great channel. You won't find any of the stupid stuff that I cover on his channel. His is all gaming. And RPG Elite is mostly gaming. But it's these guys, and I think he might be one of them. They occasionally like to dip their toe into the culture war. And I don't care what you call it. It's the culture war. So some of these folks, I think they're slightly deluding themselves into thinking they're not. Okay, but you are. So once you do that, be prepared. Beck Me Berserk is all business. Yeah. It's like if I just want to go kind of chill out and just listen to some good old school talk, I know that's what I'm going to get there. That's why it's good to have a variety. It's good to have channels, like his, like mine, like RPG Elite. Now mine, you're going to get a little bit more. It may skew a little bit more into the culture war, but look, I just did a video on 4E. I've done ones on Dragonbane, DM advice. And yeah, those videos don't do nearly as much as the drama because, newsflash, people like drama. It's just the way it is. So he likes to kind of keep his nose out, but you'll see he definitely puts it in a little bit here.
I do that, and what I focus on this channel, I do that by giving you tools and tips and tutorials and real talk about the tabletop RPG space and culture.
And guys, I despite what he says later, I have no reservation. Give him a follow or a subscribe to him on YouTube. Absolutely, it's a good channel. He has some really good videos, just kind of reviewing stuff. He's got some on the Black experience too, on just what it's like to being a Black man playing an RPG.
Sure. And today is kind of more like a commentary, a little bit of real talk. As we move into 2024, unless something happens between now and then, but God willing, we've got some things that we're going to be doing here in RPG Elite coming up in 2024. But before I get into that, I have a confession to make. And that confession is a realization. It's a realization about myself. I've had to think long and hard about this. And I've come to the conclusion, the reality, the truth about this, about myself, that I am a racist.
So I'm watching this. I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna get good. Like I said, there's a lot of like mic drop moments here. And I'm like, oh man, he's doing it. You know, this guy who likes to keep his nose out of the culture war. He's gonna do it. He already said no, orcs are not black people.
Now, what do I mean when I say that? Because you guys know that that word means zero to me, really, because it's used as a slur word today, right? And so I'm gonna self-identify myself as a racist. Now, why am I saying this? Well, I'm saying this because it seems like the gene pool, the last generation or so, has changed drastically. And now there are a, dare I say, race of individuals who have a gene of jacked up ideologies, aberrant behavior, and just not being able to deal with life.
So does this sound like it could have come out of any one of my videos, Rogan?
It does. There's a parallel.
I mean, I'm watching this. I think I had already typed like, great video, man. And, but he does something that's just so disappointing. I still forgive him. I still think he's a great YouTuber, and I still think you guys should sub if you if you so desire. But let's keep going. So I'm like, holy shit, this guy's sounding like me now.
And then they want to take all of that baggage and they want to bring it into a tabletop RPG session, and now we have it in our culture. Now, I understand this, and we have to address these things because we have to protect ourselves from these things. We have to protect ourselves from these elements that are not doing the tabletop RPG hobby any good. And the approach of these people and the things that they say is not a good look. You got companies who avidly hate their customers, apparently.
Like I said, I'm like, holy shit, this guy is like, he's coming on over, this is his coming out party. Do we not talk about companies that openly despise their customers?
Right.
This guy gets it. RPG Elite gets it.
They talk about their customers like a dog. But then expect you to still pay them money. You got people like that guy, that no-name individual whose name that I don't even want to mention on my channel, over there at that company, who I don't want to mention on my channel, talking about something to the effect of people like me, and what he meant by that was, quote, white dudes, unquote, can't leave the hobby fast enough. And then the thing that I wanted to say, I was like, okay, well, bye.
I'm ready to make contact with him. Like, all right, let's do a live stream together, Servant of Shiloh. Seriously, is this not what we've all been talking about?
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
So I'm mesmerized for the first 5 minutes of this video. I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome.
But wouldn't you know it, that guy still has his job in the tabletop RPG community. Ain't that something? Wants to give this kind of attitude, but then doesn't want to lead by example. Why? Because he's not a leader. Why? Because he's a coward. He just talks a whole bunch of nonsense.
Yes.
There's a whole race of people like that has invaded the tabletop RPG community.
And they're ruining it. They are completely ruining the culture, the scene. Most big conventions now are, you really have to watch yourself to find normal people.
A whole race of them And so, in that regard, I'm a racist because I don't like none of them. I think they're all bad, not only for the tabletop RPG space, I think they're bad for society. They're bad examples, horrible human beings. You can't talk to these people. You try to talk to these people, they're two-faced cowards that talk behind your back and go over to their little groups and whatever. I mean, at least when I say something, I'll say it to your face. I'm not gonna sit up there and play games because I ain't got time to play games. And these are infantile individuals who like to go and do that. I don't like doing that. So as far as that race of individuals, I can't stand none of them. I also don't like, I mean, let me keep it real. I also don't like people who constantly complain about those people, and that's all their channel seems to be about. And it's always about drama. All right, I had predicted in my last video, because it's something that's pertinent to the tabletop RPG community, that's why I did the video. And I called it. I said, you know, when I do my commentary videos, I tend to get thousands of views. I get good metrics on those. However, when I'm doing something, just geeking out over a tabletop RPG tool, or I'm doing a deep dive into a classic game or something like that, I get crickets. On a good day, I might get a couple hundred views.
Well, welcome to the club. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is. Yeah, Crafty. I trust Crafty Matt. He has his ear to the ground. Also about Legion of Myth. Yeah, it's just so bizarre, Matt, because I do purposely. If you go through my videos, yeah, I mean, there's the ones I'm famous for, but I mean, that is not all I do. You guys watch these live streams. Those of you that stick around to the end, you know, when both my boys are here, we do some live play. Dragonbane. I just did a 4E video. I mean, I will work in stuff that I know is what we would call like a lost leader, because I want variety for people that want it. And I know it's not everybody. A lot of people like the drama, but I was just so disappointed he went with the both sides. You know, because Servant of Shiloh, as you can obviously tell by that, you know, openly Christian. Well, who's letting people know Servant of Shiloh? You know, folks like Dennis Detweiler, I believe was his name. You know, the guy who does Delta Green, hates Christians. Like, I mean, just a history of just hating Christians. Would you not want to know that as a Christian? Would your audience, who, you know, I'm going to assume, you know, there's a fair number of, you know, people of faith in your audience, would they not want to know that before they support that company, so they can at least make an informed decision? It's just, it's very disappointing. I'm not real happy with both sides people. I don't like them in real life. I have folks, you know, it's mostly in my in-laws who are just both sides people. They will enumerate how the world is falling apart and it is all because of one side. And then at the end they'll say, yeah, but then there's other people. So it's both sides. Oh, really? You just talked for 15 fucking minutes about how one side is trashing our world. And everybody knows it. Women aren't women anymore. You know, words can hurt you at the game table. But the people who keep those companies that are doing this, they keep their feet to the fire, were just as bad. Bullshit, brother. Bullshit. I love you, but bullshit. No fucking way, dude. And also, don't be mad at me because I'm halfway decent at what I do. There's a lot of complainers out there, you know, that can't draw flies. And there's a lot of people in the middle of the road that get run over. So, you know, try not to take the piss out of folks like me for having a stance and sticking to it and not being afraid to engage in the drama, or as I like to call it, letting people know, hey, that company that you won't talk about, yeah, they're complete garbage. Some people actually want to hear things about them, you know? So that's my only beef. I like this guy. I like Servant of Shiloh. But this both sides bullshit is exactly that. If you stay in the middle of the road, you are going to get run over, especially when someone like him, as a Christian, knows that the people that we're trying to hold accountable, that we are trying to make laughing stocks, they openly despise Christians. You know, they think of people like Servant of Shiloh, you know, like as nothing more than a token. I'll finish.
I mean, here's a gentleman right here. Excuse me. Obviously, he's got a perspective similar to us, but then he also has a perspective that's, you know, very, very, you know, different than us.
Well, it's fear.
Yeah. You know, but you know, in WotC, in TSR, and in Hasbro, you know, the poison is so deep by people that have gotten themselves into the game but have never played the game. It's a tactic. It's to go in, force those that are in the system out by people that have little to do with the system but have an agenda. Yeah, I mean, if there's anyone out there that's listening that doesn't understand that, I think all these people in here do understand that. Yeah. That it's not. They did it with the comics industry, and comics are really close to my heart. And it's heartbreaking to see some of the stuff going on now. While that was all going on for me, it was extremely heartbreaking. You know, this is happening in our game, and we've had these conversations about this, around the table for quite a while, and I've always believed that, like, this isn't going to last, because there's, for all the people out there screaming and hollering, saying that we're the villains, we're the bad guys, they're the smallest amount of people. Unfortunately, Twitter makes them amazingly strong.
But if they went unchallenged,
right,
it would last.
Absolutely. I mean, we have to challenge it. We have to.
I mean, look, we made the RPG, we made the list of companies. By the way, guys, I did add Mongoose. I added Leyline, from last week. I made a decision. I hope you guys will see where it's coming from. They came for comics 10 years before. Yeah, they perverted. Exactly.
Yes.
Yep, exactly, Curseyig, for sure. I moved Pinnacle into the coward list from the traders. Somebody said, hey, look, they've resisted. I know, what they did was bad, but they're also resisting sensitivity readers. He gave me the truth. I always thought they were tweeners before. And I'm going to be lenient, even though they made a mistake. And I think they are cowardly. I'm going to put them in that cowardly column. So, I hope you guys will, forgive me if you disagree. But yeah, so we're trying to make a list, a buyer's guide for people. And it's so fucking, it's hilarious and kind of tiring at the same time. The people on your own side, it's not the other folks, at least I know kind of where they stand, because they're not coming from a place of, I don't know what, they hate you, but it's very simple. I think there's a bunch of conflicting emotions when it comes from folks on our side who are like, well, why do you need a list? Aren't you just engaging in the same tactics? Well, I don't think so, but even if I was, I don't give a fuck. If I have to get my hands dirty to take money out of the pocket of some of these companies by either making a video, showing people who they are. I mean, you have Mackenzie DeArmas, the star pupil for Wizards of the Coast, on Twitter saying white people can choke. And what are we supposed to do, sir? Like Servant of Shiloh. What are we supposed to do? Just that's okay. Just let it go. I won't mention them on my channel. So then what? Nobody knows, and everybody's like, oh yeah, Wizards of the Coast, they're kind of cool. Maybe they're a little screwy, but no. Well, how about their fucking star pupil despises white people, wants them dead? It's not just enough that they hate them. Some of them want us dead. So I do take it personally. And no, I disagree. Let's just say that. Folks like me, Max, others, No, we're not quote unquote just as bad. And I think that's a gross misrepresentation. So you really screwed up on that. Like I said, I had the great video ready to go. And then he said that. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Pulling the both sides card out after you said all that stuff. It's just typical. But it's, you know what, guys, it's just fear. You know, folks like him, they don't want the blowback, and part of me can't blame them. You got to be made of sterner stuff, I think, to take the heat from some of these people. If you're wondering what I'm saying, go look at the comments in my Matt Colville video. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So some people just don't want to do that. They don't want to, and like I said, that's fine. But for God's sakes, don't throw those of us who are fighting the fucking fight under the bus. And yeah, I can do a fucking commentary, you know, or a advice video. I can do a review video. Good Lord, I just did a whole fucking review of Shadowdark. Yes, I can do both. I've been playing as long as you have, I think. So, you know, like I said, I bear him no ill will. I actually like him. You know, I'm going to stay subscribed. I just really hope he rethinks what he said, you know, and he's the type of guy, he just kind of does his thing, and he's like, you know, I don't care. He even says later on in the video, you know, like, I don't pay attention to what anybody else says. That's fine. That's fine. Do your thing, you know, but know that you're just kind of, you know what's right, but you don't want to say what needs to be done. You don't want to call out people who need to be called out. You just say, that guy from Wizards of the Coast who said that thing. No, his name is Kyle Brink. He said that white people like him couldn't leave the hobby fast enough, and then he went on an apology tour. You can look at several of my videos detailing all this, and they are out there now in the ether forever. And I will get somebody, you know, at least it's, you know, slowed down now, but for a while I was getting like, holy shit, I had no idea. Thank you. You know, no problem. And I'm not doing it for the, you know, the ego stroke. I'm doing it because I despise Wizards of the Coast, and I want to see everybody there bankrupt and, you know, and fired and let go. I want to see the people who hate me panhandling on the streets of Seattle. That's what I want. I know that's not very Christian, but you'll have to forgive me. So here endeth the lesson.
I really wish the goodness that, you know, going back, you know, 10, 15 years, whatever, at the beginning of the insidious infiltration of the comic book industry, I really wish there weren't so many lazy people, you know, collecting comics or in the industry that were started getting mildly uncomfortable with certain things. And then, you know, once you start feeling mildly uncomfortable, it's, you know, you've mentioned it, the frog in the pot. You know, it's too late. I just really wish to goodness, like, I love comics, and like just seeing the stuff that's been coming out, you know, it takes a fantastic people to almost go underground to be creative, you know. Yep. It just sucks.
For sure. Yeah, they have destroyed comics, and it's not but you know, the good news is there's an independent scene in comics. There's an independent scene in gaming. Greg Gillespie's here. Support Dragon Slayer. You know, you can support games like Shadowdark too. I do that without reservation. You know, look, Kelsey, you know, if push came to shove and we had to do, you know, a trade of our, you know, philosophical views, I'm sure we probably are a little different. But like I said, who knows? I'm not even going to make that assumption. But she wrote a book that was purposely apolitical, talking about crusading Templars and stuff like that, stuff that's supposed to drive other people, you know, crazy, and they just had to suck it down because it was, you know, it was her that did it, and I'm laughing hilariously that they did. So choke on that. Tora, our old buddy, $5 super chat. I just went and looked at the Colville vid. DD might want to get his blood pressure checked due to the salt thrown at him. Yeah, it's. I'm enjoying listening to some of them. Tora, thank you, by the way, much appreciated. He has worse simps than Ginny D. I said this on Twitter. Matt Colville simps are worse than Ginny D's. I've never gotten the venom. You know, there was a couple, you know, simps from Ginny D, but they begged off after a while. And I haven't done any follow-ups really with Matt. But yeah, these people are vicious. But it's okay. I kind of laugh at them. I don't read them all. I read most of them. So I am here to help you. If you guys want to help me, I think we still have about 120 here. If you want to help this get seen, hit that like button. We are about ready to take off, but not before Warren, one of the heroes of the night, Canadian $5. And the name said on him was death, and hell followed with him. Well put, my friend. Well put. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Warren. Yeah, Shadowdark is a recommend. Yeah, especially for conventions. It's, you know, maybe a little tough for a house game, but, you know, use your own discretion. Yeah, I have no problem. Support people who are normal. And this also, when companies like Free League, you know, do this stuff. Oh, well, they just kind of have to. No, they don't. Guess what? No, they don't. Because we got a couple of solid games like Greg's, Kelsey's. I'm sure Alex's, you know, Axe 2. That's not going to have any bullshit about safety tools. Guys, we have good games. Castles and Crusades. I don't believe there's any of that nonsense in there. It's good games to play over here.
There's enough options out there, really, to anyone who loves role playing can step away from, you know, what we've been force fed. You know, it was the mainstay for many, many years, and unfortunately, it changed. You know, it's half-life has come. You know, we're seeing
it's a girl who broke up with you and said, "I'm leaving you with this for this other guy."
Right.
And I don't want to see you anymore.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying it's not hard to get over. Yeah. I'm not saying you're like, oh shit, and then, you know, maybe you still pester her. But at some point you will realize, oh, I'm wasting my time. You know, that time period is gone. You know, but then you look behind you and you're like, holy shit, there's some pretty good looking girls back here too. Yeah. So
there's a lot of fantastic stuff people are making that love the hobby. They're creating amazing stuff. These people need to be supported. This is what's going to keep the game alive.
I can't think of a better way to end. Yep, Chris, don't worry. We are right behind you, brother. Yeah, Double D's struggling right now. So I am going to get us out of here. I will tell you what, we'll do a little holy diver for the boys and girls here. It's good to see all of you here. Surly, Charlotte, all the old school, Laren, Jaco, Chris, Cal, Joe, Joel. Yep, all you guys, all the new members. Quilianarex, Kia, Rianax. Yeah. Our old friends at Black Lodge. Maybe like I said, we'll try to get together with Black Lodge during January. Maybe we'll have them on a Wednesday stream, and if they ever want me on theirs, I will be happy to return the favor. All right, guys. That is all. Nice quick one. Oops, look at this one. Sneaking in under the radar. Thought you could get away with that.
Just
Merry New
over the
Year.
wire.
Beef jerky time. Yep. The missus got me a box of Slim Jims up there. Oof. So good for you. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, $5 super chat. Remember, if you want to support folks like Mad Scribe, there's a link in pretty much every video and live stream description. Chris is he's a sponsor of the channel. So if you use that link, I may get a little. Look at his Encore, guys. It's a really cool sci-fi fantasy RPG. Very cool. All right, guys. Love you. Let me just get over here.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah, Happy New Year. You guys, please make sure to stay safe. And, don't drink and drive. Call an Uber. And, we'll talk to you in the new year. Probably won't do any videos of that before year end. I'm just going to take it easy, work on the adventure, finally track down an artist. So who I have a lot of faith in. So we're going to make good things. So, all right. Peace, guys. Love you. Take care.
Till you see the light. Oh, we will pray it's alright. Gotta get away, get away. Between the velvet lies, there's a truth that's hard as steel. Yeah, I'll say the veils will never die. That's all. Something like to never be seen. See his face, but you know he's green. Well, don't you see what I mean? Gotta get away, I get away, gotta get away.